What's good, Celebrial fans? The rap girlies are clashing again, but this time it's not about charts, awards, or who's up right now. This blow-up hit for a totally different reason, and the internet is in a full meltdown already. No kids involved, no family line talk, none of that. So keep it clean and focused. The spark?
Trump can say, you're fired. Let Martha Stewart run her company the same way and be the same way. Oh, evil. But Donald Trump, he gets to hang out with young and have 50 different wives and just be cool. Oh, Donald, we love you. Donald Trump. But
Nicki Minaj just leaned into what fans say they've been hearing for a minute, and people are calling her the MAGA Barbie now, which instantly sent social media into chaos. And look, no shade on anybody's politics because everyone's allowed their own beliefs. But the way Nicki's been moving has people side-eyeing hard. It's not even just disagreement, it's confusion.
Speaking to the barbs and the barbs only, but I'm speaking to the barbs that have common sense. Can you explain why Nicki would end up supporting Charlie Kirk's wife and his legacy and go on and why is she taking this whole turn with Trump and stuff? Can you just explain to me why? And I don't need you to comment dumb stuff.
Fans are asking why this is getting pushed so loudly right now and why the switch feels so sudden to them. Because of that, she's been catching backlash fast, and the critics are watching like it's a live show. Her longtime ops are low-key celebrating too, saying she's putting dents in her own legacy in real time. And you already knew Cardi B's name was going to get pulled into the chat. People online are claiming Cardi isn't shocked, like she expected Nicki's choices to come back around eventually. Especially with the way Nicki's personal life has been talked about for years. That's the part folks keep circling like sharks. But is that really what's driving the chaos?
I mean, I can't tell people what to post or what to say. But Nicki Minaj damn sure needs to stay away from anything, posting anything about kids, trans or otherwise. She supports a dude that is on the Epstein list 1,000 times. She's actually married to a registered sex offender, a pedophile. She shouldn't be able to watch Jason Kidd or listen to Kid and Play or New Kids on the Block. Hell, she got to walk around the aisle with Cabbage Patch Kids on it. And she damn sure should stay away from Sour Patch Kids. And it ain't Governor Newsom Nicki needs to be worried about. It's Chris Hansen.
Because Nicki's been stepping deeper into politics lately, and fans say it's impossible to ignore. The loud alignment people are describing now clashes with what Nicki said back in 2020, which is why timelines are calling it a major pivot. Back then, Nicki spoke critically about Trump's immigration policies and made it clear she wasn't riding for his movement. She also spoke on misogyny in entertainment and said Trump represented the kind of man who needed younger women around him to feel powerful. Those were her words. Fast forward to now, and people are confused.
Of the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
This is the same artist who was name-dropping Trump in a freestyle remix back in November 2016, right after the election. And now she's praising him like he's one of the best things to happen to America. So fans are like, how did we get here? A lot of people say the hints were there when Nicki spoke about Christian persecution in Nigeria. Her supporters defended her at the time, saying she was speaking on a serious issue and it wasn't some political campaign move. But looking back, critics are saying that moment might have been the first breadcrumb of this whole MAGA Barbie turn.
But what it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it. But you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly. Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies. And it's just not.
Nicki has always shown love to Nigeria, and nobody really argued with that part. But the temperature changed when she jumped into California politics and aimed straight at Governor Gavin Newsom. The spark was a California law tied to student privacy at school, where schools aren't required to force staff to notify parents if a student wants to use a different name or pronouns at school. Supporters say it's about protecting kids who don't feel safe at home, while critics argue parents should be informed, and the debate is already super heated. So once that law passed, Nicki hit social media instantly. She tweeted, "Imagine being the guy running on wanting to see trans kids. Not even a trans adult would run on that. Normal adults wake up and think they want to see healthy, safe, and happy kids." And that quote set the timeline on fire, because she didn't just comment, she jumped right into the loudest part of the argument. Conservative parents were heated, saying parents should be in the loop on anything involving their kids, especially big identity questions. On the other side, plenty of people pushed back, saying not every home is safe, and a school protecting a student's privacy can prevent real harm. Either way, the debate got loud, emotional, and non-stop. Still, the Barbs held Nicki down hard. They said she was speaking as a mom, not trying to start a war, and that her focus was family involvement.
Nicki Minaj has gone full-blown MAGA on Twitter, or X, right? And I think it's because she's scared of deportation. She is starting to get worried with this immigration policy because, mind you, she's been in the United States since she was 5 years old, and she's still not a citizen. And pre-COVID, she even talked about how hard it is to get citizenship in this country. You can be a multimillionaire. You can be a celebrity. And it's still a hard process to get citizenship. It's easier just to renew your green card, right? She has gone so far to turn against her own fan base. She literally, the LGBTQ is her ride or dies, right? They do all her dirty work for her, right? And she went on to say that trans people are not normal.
They pointed out she has a child now and wants to be fully present in her son's life. So to them, her comments felt personal, not some calculated move. But then the vibes shifted fast. When Nicki popped up smiling at the Turning Point USA Memorial event in Phoenix, she wasn't just in the crowd, she was a featured guest speaker. That's when the side-eye really started. Some people online noticed other Black creators linked to Turning Point USA didn't get the same spotlight. And with Candace Owens no longer with the group, critics started speculating about optics and who the organization would put front and center next. So fans weren't shocked when the talk turned into, is her fame being used to pull more Black fans toward that side? And when clips showed her nodding along to points she hadn't really been known for before, the timeline went into overdrive. People were straight up confused, posting, "What is really going on? Celebrial fam, blink twice if that's really Annika up there." The confusion is loud, and the side-eyes are even louder. The rap world is back in full chaos mode, and this time it's not about diss tracks, chart battles, or surprise drops. This mess feels way deeper, way louder, and way more uncomfortable for fans who never expected Nicki to step into politics like this. Nicki Minaj has moved into political territory in a way that's making people do double takes. Fans aren't just shocked, they're confused, disappointed, and trying to figure out when this shift really started. And the internet isn't whispering anymore, it's screaming. What's wild is people are saying it didn't happen overnight. If you look back, there were breadcrumbs leading up to this moment, but fans didn't want to believe it because Nicki's brand was always rebellion, independence, and pushing back against systems that felt controlling. Back then, Nicki was vocal about being cautious with politics. She criticized leaders she felt were harmful, especially around women, immigrants, and power dynamics. And she positioned herself as someone who questions authority, not someone who lines up behind it without asking questions. So fast forward to now, and fans are watching her praise figures she once pushed back against. And that whiplash is why the backlash feels so intense. People aren't mad just to be mad. They're saying the story doesn't add up without context. Now, social media is a non-stop debate zone. Some fans say growth means changing your mind. Others say growth doesn't mean flipping your values with no explanation. And now every tweet, every appearance, every like is getting dissected frame by frame. The tension really exploded when Nicki started speaking on state laws and political figures directly. That's when even casual fans realized this wasn't just opinions, this was positioning. And once you step into that lane, people expect clarity, consistency, and accountability. The California situation pushed everything over the edge. When that law passed about student privacy at school, it set off outrage on both sides. Parents, advocates, educators, everybody had something to say, and emotions were already running hot. Then Nicki jumped into the conversation, and her tweet went viral fast. Not just because of what she said, but how she said it. A lot of people felt the wording didn't match how sensitive the topic is, and that's where things got tricky. Supporters defended her right away. They said she was speaking from a parent's perspective, focused on safety, and just voicing concern like any mom would. But critics weren't buying it. They said it sounded like she was repeating talking points without acknowledging why the law exists at all, and they pointed out that not every kid lives in a safe or supportive home. That back and forth split her fan base right down the middle. Some fans stayed 10 toes down no matter what. Others quietly stepped back like, I don't recognize the Nicki I fell in love with. Then came the Turning Point USA appearance. And that's where the vibe shifted from debate to disbelief. Seeing Nicki on that stage wasn't just surprising, it felt symbolic to a lot of people. Like it confirmed suspicions that had been brewing for months. And what rubbed folks the wrong way was the context. People noticed other Black creators in that space didn't get the same spotlight or speaking roles, and that made the optics look even messier. Yet Nicki, with her global influence, was front and center, smiling, polished, fully embraced. And that visual alone sent shockwaves through the timeline. Fans weren't just reacting to her words anymore. They were reacting to optics, and optics matter when history and power dynamics are involved. People started asking the hard questions. Why now? Why this space? Why these alliances? And why does it feel like she's repeating narratives that fans swear they never heard from her before? With Candace Owens stepping away from that organization, a lot of people noticed the gap. Then suddenly Nicki pops up in that lane, whether it was intentional or not, and the conversation instantly shifted to influence. Because Nicki isn't just an artist, she's a cultural force. Anything she co-signs, even indirectly, carries weight, especially in communities that already feel pulled in different political directions. That's why some fans started saying her fame is being used to attract demographics that usually don't feel welcomed in those spaces. And that idea made people uncomfortable fast. Online reactions went from stunned silence to full-on think pieces. Some people joked through the confusion like, blink twice if this is really Annika. Others weren't laughing at all. And for longtime supporters, the biggest sting was the disconnect. They felt like Nicki wasn't explaining herself, wasn't walking people through the shift, and wasn't acknowledging the contradiction. Instead, to them, it felt abrupt, defensive, and dismissive, like fans were being shut out instead of brought into her perspective. And once that trust starts cracking, it spreads fast. Fans who used to defend Nicki nonstop are now sitting out arguments or quietly unfollowing. Not because they hate her, but because they feel exhausted. Meanwhile, her critics are having a field day. Every old clip, old quote, and old lyric is getting reposted to highlight the contrast. And they're saying, this isn't growth, it's a full rebrand. That's the angle getting pushed hard right now. And right on cue, the Cardi B conversation resurfaced. People started saying Cardi saw this coming, like personal choices eventually spill into public consequences. Whether that's true or not, the narrative stuck. And now Nicki's personal life keeps getting pulled into the debate. Fair or not. At the same time, plenty of fans are pushing back against the pile-on. They're reminding everyone artists are human, messy, and allowed to evolve. and they argue that dragging someone solely for political opinions can set a dangerous precedent. But others are saying accountability isn't canceling. They're saying you can still question someone you admire without wanting them erased, but that nuance gets lost in the noise. The biggest issue right now is communication. Nicki hasn't really sat down and fully explained her journey, her reasoning, or her intentions. And without that, people start filling in the blanks themselves. And when the internet fills in blanks, it rarely does it kindly. Speculation turns into assumptions. Assumptions turn into narratives. And suddenly the story spins way bigger than what was even said in the first place. At this point, this feels bigger than politics. It's about trust, identity, and what happens when an artist's public moves stop matching the version fans grew up defending. From day one, Nicki built her whole empire on being bold and fearless, and nobody could tell her what to do. But now that same say it with your chest energy is clashing with expectations from a fan base that swears they're watching a totally different Nicki than before. Whether this chapter locks in her core supporters even tighter or pushes more people away is still up in the air. One thing is obvious, though. The conversation is not slowing down, and every move she makes next is getting watched like it's a live trial. Not just by critics, but by fans who still want clarity and want to believe there's more context. And until that clarity comes, the timeline stays loud, and the drama keeps rolling with no pause button. Things got even more heated when people saw Tanya Mirage on stage with Erica Kirk, and the reactions were instant. Some viewers felt the messaging on that stage came off anti-trans, and that did not sit right with a lot of fans, especially since a huge part of Nicki's fan base comes from the LGBTQ+ community. The backlash was heavy and emotional. People were asking how someone with such a diverse, loyal audience could end up aligned with messaging that feels dismissive to the same community that's shown love for years. At the same time, more rumors started spreading that Nicki's recent moves are allegedly tied to her husband, Kenneth Petty. That theory has been floating for a while, and critics keep saying ever since they got together, controversy follows them like a shadow. One of the big stories people keep bringing up involves an overseas legal issue. Reports claimed there was a lawsuit tied to an incident in Germany, where her husband allegedly had a physical altercation with a security guard during an argument connected to her. Allegations, not confirmed facts, but the internet stays locked on it anyway. Fans can't believe that even with all the success and trophies, this kind of drama keeps popping up around Nicki. And critics won't let go of Kenneth Petty's past either, because people online keep bringing up his record like it's a headline that never expires. That scrutiny follows her everywhere, no matter how many wins she stacks. So now some folks are speculating her political alignment might be about more than just beliefs. Like there's something else driving the timing and the volume. There are claims she could be trying to improve her husband's legal situation too, with people guessing she wants fewer restrictions when it comes to travel and paperwork. None of that is confirmed, but it's spreading fast. And once the internet grabs a theory, it moves like a stampede. Then things got even more sensitive when commentators dragged her family into it, including her brother's situation. That's a serious topic with real consequences, and people are using it to push their own narratives, even though this is still speculation and not proven intent. And to be clear, those are claims being made by online voices, not confirmed facts. But that doesn't stop the timeline from trying to build a big master plan story around her like everything is connected. Another theory people keep pushing is about Nicki herself. Some fans claim that because she was born in Trinidad and Tobago, her legal status in the US might be different than people assume, and they argue that could affect what she can or can't do politically. I'm not presenting that as fact, but you can see how that rumor turns into a whole argument in 2 seconds. Nicki has spoken before about how complicated paperwork and citizenship stuff can be, and now people are acting like her political shift is strategic, especially with immigration talk getting louder in recent years. Critics are saying the alignment looks calculated, like she's trying to stay protected in a system that can flip on people fast, Some even believe she's trying to position herself as valuable to powerful circles, like influence, visibility, and loyalty can buy you stability. That idea alone has fans arguing nonstop, because one side thinks she's protecting her family, and the other side thinks she's trading her principles to do it. Either way, this whole moment has left a mark on her image. A lot of longtime supporters are saying the signs were there, and now it just feels out in the open, while others are still waiting for Nicki to explain her moves in her own words. Right now, the trust feels cracked, and rebuilding that isn't easy. Whether this is about politics, protection, survival, or pure influence, one thing's obvious. The way people look at Nicki has shifted, and the conversation is not cooling down.